This conference will now be recorded.
Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Honorable Secretary General Dr. G.P. Agrawal and Dr. Sanjeev Rai, Executive Secretary WASME, I, Megha Chadha, Deputy Director WASME, heartily welcome Ms. Payal Gupta, CEO, Celebratory Network, Jaya Nitty, Principal Consultant, Celebratory Network, and Kesha Kapadia, Consultant, Celebratory Network. All dignitaries and participants for live webinar on WASME Celebratory Network ELC webinar Express, Listen and Connect. My special thanks to Celebratory Network for partnering with WASME in this webinar. Let me brief about WASME, a global organization having member representatives in more than 100 countries, spearheading the cause and development and promotion of SMEs worldwide through policy advocacy, information dissemination, conferences, seminars, events, trainings, publication, network linkages, and many more since 1980. WASME enjoys the consultative and observer status of United Nations. Let me introduce esteemed panelist. Payal Gupta, CEO, Celebratory Network. Payal has extensive experience working in family businesses, corporates, and MNCs in the areas of organizational culture, diversity, leadership, and change management. As CEO and Director of Celebratory Network, Payal works with CXOs, founders, board of directors, and women leaders to help them prepare to be future ready. She has worked in industries like manufacturing, media, printing, hospitality, IT, education, FMCG, real estate, BFSI, hospitality, power, social, and legal organizations. She believes that self as an instrument of change is the key to facilitate any change process. Welcome, Payal ma'am. Welcome to the webinar. Jaya Nati, Principal Consultant, Celebratory Network. She does appreciative inquiry, even on compensative conversations in the form of from the work. She has traveled to Bangladesh and Portland, Oregon for assignments on appreciative inquiry. Janity is mentoring individuals and coaching for job performance, designing a program for leadership motivation and managerial skills for a Kosher government organizations, trust building in work groups, value and culture. Welcome Jaya ma'am to the webinar. Kesha Kabadia, consultant, Celebratory Network. Kesha has worked in the banking and services industry, airline industry in the HR function for a decade before she joined Celebratory Network. She manages projects and focuses on delivery. She has worked on project focusing on global culture and happiness at work. She's an artist, photographer, and creative person. She has been bringing her creativity to presenting diagnosis via art in a non-judgmental way. She brings her experience of HR and creativity to the happiness and OD, handing over experience of HR and creativity to the happiness and OD, handing over mic to Kesha Kagaria, consultant secretary network. Kesha, please welcome to the webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Megha.
Right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Payal here. I have with me Jaya and Kesha, and we will take you through the session. Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev. Would you want to share a few words before I go ahead? All right. So I'll begin the process. Thank you for all of you who came in on time so that we could start the session. So we're going to spend the next 2 hours to look at ELC, and ELC is a terminology that we've brought in after a lot of research between Jaya, Kesha, and me. At Celebratory Network, we often do a research every year, and we look at the theme that's most relevant to the context. So before we did research last year, we used to do research on happiness as a culture at work. Last year during the pandemic, we changed the theme of the research. We focused on, instead of focusing on happiness, what is it that we need to focus on? And that's when we realized that the current context of the pandemic does not have a playbook. There are struggles for how should we go about with this, what should we do, and at all levels of the organization. And the ones who were suffering the most, I'm using a very provocative word, but the ones who were suffering the most with all of this was the leader. So what we decided to do between the three of us was, we said we will go out and do a research. We will speak to leaders and look at what is their experience, what's their challenge. Our research was completely open-ended. We wanted to understand what was the pain point. We wanted to understand what were the struggles, what was it that leaders were experiencing, what was business experiencing. So we spoke to 50 plus leaders across the globe, and out of the research, one of the needs that showed up was the need for having empathy. And let me tell you, interestingly, empathy is not just for today, it is going to be a skill required for the future. And with empathy being a skill required for the future, it will also be about looking at how do we build this in our day-to-day work, in our day-to-day lives. And interestingly, it can be built as a skill, it can be worked towards. So what we bring to you with ELC is really looking at how do we express ourselves, how do we allow another to express themselves, how do we listen to someone, which is very, very basic, it seems very basic in terms of we all can listen, we all know how to listen. But you will see today as we go around through these 2 hours, how much of listening do we actually do. And when we do the express and listen, then connections get built. So the focus of today is to give you an experiential process. I know we are online, and there are some limitations of the process, but we will also, between various parts of the session, we will also request you to possibly unmute yourself and share your views. Sometimes we may ask you to put your responses on chat. Our intent is not to download you with data or a framework. Our intent is to really take you through the experience. This could also bring into you a new way of being. And when I say a new way of being, it is, when you look at a process like ELC, when you look at building empathy as a part of your way of communicating, it cannot be that one day I will hold the empathy flag and the other day I become a tyrant. It really eventually becomes the way of being for any person. Once it becomes the way of being, it will also hopefully, if you really imbibe and work with focusing on that, it will become a process of you holding empathy, not just for yourself, but for others. It can't be that I be empathetic to others and I am indifferent to myself. So both of them parallelly work. And eventually the focus will then lead to building and strengthening relationships. Relationships at work, relationships at home with a 5-year-old, with a 50-year-old, irrespective of age, gender, borders, etc. So here is a quick question, very simple question. What is empathy? So can I request you to please put on chat your thoughts and your views on what is empathy? And we're not looking at a right answer. We're not looking at a dictionary definition. We are looking at your own experience of what is empathy. So you have the chat icon up if you are on the web, something like a call out. Please could you select on that? And I will put in a message here so that you know that you have to come here. What is empathy? Can I hear your views on what is empathy? You'll take a minute for this. And if some of you can, could you please unmute your mic and share? But do please be brief. We want you to just tell us in a line what is empathy. So there are 21 of us on this call. Yeah, so we have Rajendra responding. Empathy is provocative. Yes. Thank you, Rajesh. Rajendra, sorry. What about the others?
Proactive,
It's
I said, not proud.
proactive.
It is,
Proactive.
yeah, being proactive. What you put yourself, when you put yourself in another person's shoes and feel the situation. Yes, Uma. Yeah. Mr. Raj says, restrict your emotions, take care of other emotions for move. Okay.
Empathy is concern.
Sorry, could you say it a little loudly?
It's a concern.
It's a concept. Okay.
Concern.
He
It's a
says it's a
concern.
concern. Yeah.
I hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I can see a gentleman with Lenovo putting your hand up. Could you share?
Yeah, it's like, being with somebody else thinking that it is our own problem.
Ah, yeah. Being with someone else, thinking it's, feeling it as if it's your problem. Putting yourself in other shoes, taking action is empathy. All right. So great. We have a very good start to your thoughts on what is empathy. So let's see how we can work with your understanding and maybe new understanding of empathy. Because there is empathy as we understand, but there is also empathy as we practice. So let's look at what is this practice all about. And I'm going to give you a quick quiz. The intent of giving you this quiz is to clarify some misnomer of what empathy could be. All right. And if you are wrong in your responses, it's completely okay. I don't want you to put yourself through some stress. Just think of it that you're being childlike and playful in responding. We don't have to be right. We don't have to wear up your designation. We are all in the learning mode. All right. So we are doing the quiz also from that lens. So here is the quiz. What I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you a situation or a question, and I will ask you to respond with empathy. So you could respond with empathy by putting up on chat what could be the possible response. And remember, the possible response cannot be more than one sentence. Because right now we're just doing testing the waters. Okay. So here is the first one. I'm worried, someone saying this, I'm worried about not having enough money to pay my bills this month. This is something that someone has said to you. You need to respond with empathy. So let's hear your response. You could type on chat. You could unmute yourself. Yeah. Let's give it a try. So this is not an assessment or an evaluation, and I know many of you on this call are from institutes. So I don't want you to wear that lens of an exam or an evaluation. Megha, are you saying something? Okay. Okay. So Anubha is saying, okay, can I be of some help? All right. Can I be of some help? So you are in some way asking, seeking, requesting in some way. Thanks, Anubha, for initiating. Okay. So let me do the first one. So often the first one in a quiz is like the trial one. Let's look at this trial one. So here is empathizing. I hear you are having a tough time. Are you wanting support this month? Very close to what Anubha shared. Yeah. So we're saying that empathy is none of these. It is this. And you will see how this is different than advising, one-upping, educating, storytelling, sympathizing, etc., etc. So let's look at the second one, and I hope to get more responses. I think we do have more responses that have come. Yeah, so Uma has shared, yes, I do understand your challenge. I too have put aside money specifically for bill payments before spending on other things. It's just a phase which will pass soon. So no problem, keep on trying your best. So thanks for sharing, Uma and Swati and Anubha. Look at your responses and see, does it fall in empathizing? Does it fall in something else? I just want you to keep looking at that. And at the same point in time, I want you to keep these responses alive because as we are going to go ahead with the session, you will see, each one of you, as you give your responses, you will see where does it really fall. Okay. Here is the second one. I just got the lab reports back and it was what I feared the most. This is something you may have heard so much during the COVID times. I've gone for my COVID test and I'm worried, etc., etc. So how will you respond with empathy? Come on, let's now get quickly going. I'll give you a minute. You could also unmute yourself if you want to try sharing it verbally. Anubha is saying, let's consult a doctor. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it would be great to have some other responses from some other people also. There's no right and wrong here. So please go ahead and respond.
Jaya, what if I say, if my response is, don't worry, everything will be okay? That could also be one response, and I've heard that so much.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. But is it empathy, Payan? Is the
I
question.
don't know. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see.
Okay. Okay. So a possible response to this could be, what is the lab report saying and what is your fear? Let's talk about it. Yeah. Please don't worry, we will find the best doctor for you. I have handled, yeah, so Uma is also sharing, I've handled this in my family. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see the next one. I have so much to do today. Again, a reality. I have so much of work to do today. We have had responses from two more people. Swati for the earlier response. So now so now you have diagnosed the reason of illness. So start this treatment ASAP. I'm here for you. I'm here so you can share anything how you feel. Anthony is saying one should hold emotions irrespective of positive or negative report. Okay. Yeah, just keep looking at your responses. Each of your responses, are they falling in the pink box of empathy or are they falling in the others? Okay. So here is the possible response. I have so much to do today. And imagine you have had a tired day and you're saying this to your friend or your spouse, or maybe even to your colleague, and they tell you that's the same thing every day. Come on, you should now get used to it. Or sometimes people telling us, even I had a very tough day. Or sometimes people telling us, don't be such a crybaby. You know, if you are doing a job, then this is what it's going to be. Monday to Friday, this is what your life should look like. My life is like that. You know, sometimes very practical responses. Sometimes responses of, हमारे ज़माने में ऐसा होता था. Another trip altogether. Is that really empathy? So possible response could be, are you feeling overwhelmed and wanting support? Imagine if this is said to you when you are saying a statement like this. And here is the last one. I'm really upset. You promised to be here at 11 and it is midnight. It is now after midnight. When you come home late, it could be a child talking to you, it could be your parent talking to you, spouse talking to you, or even the boss asking you, you didn't show up on the call. So what will be your response to this? Yeah. Thank you for keeping the responses coming in.
Yeah,
I can
interesting.
See, yeah. Anubha responded to the earlier one. Take small breaks. Yeah, I can understand I'm sailing in the same boat. But on the other hand, it is good as we occupied ourselves with meaningful work. You definitely need a break maybe. This to the earlier response. Okay. So try this one also if you can. Somebody wants to unmute yourself and share? Okay. Okay. So I'll go ahead. I hear you're being upset. You needed me to keep my word and I did not. I could have informed you. Yeah. Okay. So here is what we have given you some examples of empathy, and let me tell you, a lot of the responses that came in are good responses, nice responses, but they are not empathetic responses. Many of the responses, and that's okay, because you've come for this session, you've come for an ELC, and that's what ELC will bring to you. So our recommendation is, how do you not empathize? Please don't give advice. You should do this, you should do that. Maybe advice is important, but advice is not empathy. When you console a person, it was not your fault, you did your best, you just couldn't change anything, the world outside like this is this, etc. That is consoling, but yet not empathizing. Who are you? So many times, who are you? Not empathy, it's pity. The one up, that's nothing, wait till I tell you what happened to her. Your problem is nothing, it's small, there's a bigger one. I'll tell you a bigger Dhamaka story. So that's also possible way of reaching out, but yet not empathy. This reminds me of a time when my dad did this, or when my boss did this to me. This reminds me of a time when I had to sit back late in office, etc., etc. Storytelling, yet it's not empathy. Sympathy, I feel exactly the same way. So you're going back to yourself. Sometimes sympathy is also about, yeah, it can be really, I'm feeling so sorry for you. You're really helpless, etc., etc. So a lot of that is about showing sympathy, and nobody likes being offered sympathy unless they are really asking for it. Educating, this could turn into a very positive experience for you. So learn from it. Nobody needs that, especially when they're expecting empathy.
And Payal,
And then,
this is like a big thing, educating, because I hear this a lot. Something is going
yeah.
to turn very positive. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a good lens to have. I completely believe that, looking at educating or learning from a moment or an experience is very good. But also to look at what is the timing for it. That is required, but that's yet not empathy. And finally, telling someone not to feel a certain thing. When somebody has felt a certain thing, it's like the car has started. You can't stop the feeling. Just because you said it, somebody can't stop feeling. And that's not empathy. Data gathering, when somebody is telling you about something, you get into, okay, so what happened? How did that happen? When somebody tells you, like these days, a lot of people saying that, my parents got corona. Kaise ho gaya? They were all at home, etc. You've forgotten the point. You have moved to data gathering, and that is very insensitive. Maybe that's not the time. So we've done our bit of telling you what is not empathy. Now let's get into working with empathy. Okay. I'm going to show you a video. This is a very famous video, not our video. I also want to share that with you. It's not my video. It's a video by Brené Brown, and she very simply explains empathy. And I want you to see that, because in some way it will also allow you to see what is empathy. Please let me know if you can hear it. You can't hear?
Payal.
Sorry, you can't hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me try again and I will see if it works. This is one time I'll try.
Payal, no.
Okay, so let's move on. I will put up this link for all of you. It's a good resource, and you could possibly use this to understand, to share with others about empathy. What this video is basically telling you is that, one sec, let me just stop my screen share and come back. Yeah, can you continue? I will share the presentation for you.
Okay,
You're
okay.
and
So,
Megha, please allow me for screen share.
Payal, am I audible? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes,
You're
Jaya.
audible,
We can
Jaya.
hear you.
Can someone please allow me screen share from the admin team?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Kesha,
Thank
you
you.
want me to make you presenter?
No, me, Payal.
I'll do that.
Payal, you
Yeah,
want
you
to
want
share
to
a little bit about this? Yeah, you want to share a
you
little
want
bit
to
about
talk
this
about the
video?
video? Can you
Okay.
talk about it, Jaya? I'll just get the screen ready.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very interesting, you know, how we look at empathy. So empathy is actually, this video is very beautiful, where it is shown that how the person is not standing way above the other person who's sharing, but it comes down to this person's level to understand him, to understand his emotions, and then be
Ma'am,
with
you
him
are presenter. Please
and
check.
offer support. That is the whole video about. So it's very beautiful and it's just a very small one. So please watch it. And it's really, you know, you get a sense of empathy in just 2 minutes, under 2 minutes. Okay. Uh, so well, so could you go about? Uh, okay, let's look at this now. Now I want to, you know, just come to you with a question. You've heard about empathy. Payal shared with you a quiz. So what and where is the need for empathy? So let's look at that. And I will ask you this question. Have you ever been judged, labeled by your parents, teachers, schoolmates, and at the workplace? If yes or no, please use the chat to give in your responses as soon as you can. If this is real for you, go with a yes. Ever, if you have ever faced any judgment, any labelings, you know, you're disorganized or anything, you're lazy, you're fast, you're quick, you're organized, whatever it is, have you faced it? Yes. So I would like to see more answers here. Yes. Okay. A few more, please. Quick responses. You can also respond with a why. That's all right. Yes भी लिखने की पूरी जरूरत नहीं. You can just say why. That's also okay. So yes. So I hear all the responses as yes, because somewhere in our life, we have been labeled when we were growing up, when we were children, when we are at the workplace, when we are in a family environment, everywhere we have been judged or labeled at some point. So the next question to you is, how does that make you feel? How does it make you feel when you're being judged? You know, one feeling you can write, you know, whether it makes you feel, you know, there could be feeling sad. Yeah, Kesha says sad. Um, anyone else? So I remember when there were judgments about me in childhood, I felt very angry, very angry. So unfair. Uma says unfair. Yes, yes, Uma, it is unfair when we are compared to somebody else, when we are judged, it is often unfair. Anubha says amused. Okay. Okay. That's another feeling. Anubha, thanks for sharing. Uma, thank you. Yes. Some more? Just a few more. Whatever that feeling could be. Anger, upset, sadness, helplessness, you know, whatever that is, frustrating. Okay, thank you, Rajendra, for bringing in a new feeling, frustrating. Okay, so now let's move ahead. Kya hua? Okay. Okay, fine. So let's look at, what if judgment is something that makes us feel like this? Is there another way of relating with people? So what is that other thing? How can we relate to people in ways that is not judgmental? Okay? Now let's look at this picture. Fine, could you go to the next slide? Yeah, Rajendra also says pity. He feels pity about judgment. Now we are showing you this picture. I would like people to respond to this picture. What do you see in this picture? What do you see? You can unmute yourself and share. That would be wonderful. You can use the chat box. That's also fine. But आपको picture में क्या दिख रहा है? Let's hear a few voices.
The lady is
Yes.
talking something. People are not able to comprehend what it is.
And she is very
Okay,
judgmental.
people are not able to comprehend. Thank you so much for bringing that perspective.
Judgmental.
Anybody else? What do you see?
She is judgmental and she is talking blah blah blah.
Okay, she is judgmental. Okay, and talking blah blah blah. Yes, I'm so glad that you all are responding to this, and it's really nice to hear your responses. Yes, a few more, please. One or two before we move ahead.
Hello,
Uma,
ma'am.
not
This is
interactive.
Anubha.
Uma says not interacting. Yes, yes, Anubha.
What I could see is probably the lady is shouting and
Okay.
probably showing some anger, which people are not able to understand. Some people are, but some are not. That's what the
Okay.
picture tells.
Okay. Okay. So now my question to you is, can you see anger in the picture? Can you see that the woman is being judgmental in the picture? Can you see that the woman is not being interactive in the picture? Can you see all of these?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. How can you see it as the lady being judgmental, not being interactive? What is there in the picture that you see for you to make a judgment about the lady?
Ma'am, she is keeping her level above others.
Okay. So what do you see here? You are named as RG here. So what do you see in the picture that tells you? She is standing while the others are sitting. Is that what you see? And that makes you think that she is a sort of megalomaniac attitude. Okay. So what do you see that makes you think that she is megalomaniac? That's the observation. Okay. So I'll ask you a few more simple questions. She's not bothered. Uma said she's not bothered about whether they are comprehending or not. Okay. So what makes you think that she's not comprehending? Okay, I'll ask you a few simple questions. How many men do you see in this picture? How many men? Thanks, Bhaskar. You're saying explaining as they are not. Explaining as they are not having knowledge.
13.
Okay. So how many men there are? 13. How many women are there in the picture?
5.
5. And is the lady standing or sitting? That's an observation. What is the lady wearing is an observation. How many people are putting their hands on their cheeks is an observation. So all these are those that eyes can see. Okay, and what you thought as what you made out as a lady being judgmental or the lady being a megalomaniac is the way that you have seen her standing and not attending maybe to everyone. Okay, so that's where you are assuming that the lady is judgmental, the lady has a kind of an attitude, and the lady is not interacting. But that is not what you see. You are saying something and you're making your judgments about what you're saying. And this is what happens in real life also. There is something that we are perceiving in our world, which we see, which we hear, we taste, we smell, and then we make our judgments. Okay, and that is what real life is all about. So being empathetic means coming out of judgments and seeing the situation, people, or the environment in a way that is, without wearing a lens of judgment. That is what it means. So that's when the more you believe, the more you work on empathy, the more you learn to give your observations and not judgment. So can we move ahead,
Jack, could
Payal?
I,
So I'll just
Jack,
yeah,
could I
yeah,
also share a perspective on that? So with what you're sharing, I
please.
also understand observation is really about what a camera. So a camera
Yes.
will not see the qualities that we spoke about or the inferences, but the camera will see things like how many people, what are they wearing, what are the colors, who's looking down, who's looking where, and the camera will listen to what is exactly being said. So those will be observations, right?
True, true. So those are observations. You're perfectly right, Payal. So it's what we
So,
see from a camera.
may I also share?
Yeah.
May I also
Yes,
share?
please do. Yes, Uma.
I was looking at the picture, and
Hmm.
I think there is a possibility of looking at it more positively. So
Okay.
if we look, I was just looking at those clouds. When she's talking, there's some. So one way
Yes.
of seeing this is that she's
Hmm.
trying to give the people a motivational talk, trying
Okay.
to put dreams in them, but those who are not able to comprehend, either they are trying to dream, so they are putting their hand on their cheek and trying to dream. That could be one way of seeing. So actually, it need not necessarily be a negative picture.
Sure, Uma. That is the lens with which you're seeing the picture, Uma. And that's the beauty. So whatever you're seeing is from your lens. So when you are saying that, you can say, according to me, when I see this, I can think that, I just think that she is actually motivating people to dream. So that your lens. So you are owning. So it's good when you're doing it is good setup. According to me, this is what is happening in the picture. So then you're owning up that judgment. So it does not become a universal judgment. It's not that what Uma believes is what Anubha will believe, or what Rajendra will believe. So your belief is your belief, and you're owning that up. So that is where that is how, when you are giving a judgment about something, you should own it up and say it, so that the other person knows that this is not the worldwide view. It is just Uma's view about it. Understood? Does that
Yeah.
make it clear?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. So this is, I find the statement very, very provocative. When J. Krishnamurti says, the ability to observe without evaluating is the highest form of human intelligence. So, because, and I quite agree to this, because when I was growing as a child, when I was growing up as an adolescent, I was always judged, for my marks, for my looks, for my abilities, for who I was as a person. There was so much of judgment around me that I really lost the fact that who was I in all this. So, so then when I started working on empathy and started learning what is an observation and judgment, my life became quite beautiful. and the judgments reduced quite a bit. So this is a very provocative one, and I have started to believe. I mean, from a few years, I've started to believe in what J. Krishnamurti is saying, and I wanted to share that with you all. Now, see, when it comes to humans, it is very, very essential that every human being, all the participants in this group who are there, the most basic needs, and for me, Payal, for Kesha, for all of us, the most basic of all human needs is the need to understand and the need to be understood. That is the most basic. The other needs come later. Okay. So, and that is where empathy plays uh, plays out when you're trying to understand and be understood. So, and this is also so interesting. We flourish in an environment and in relationships where we are heard and seen, as well as hear and see others. We are also biologically wired. Can somebody please unmute yourself? Yeah, thank you so much. We are also biologically wired to need connection, attachment, inclusion, validation, and belonging. We yearn for this as part of our biological makeup. I remember, I'll give you this example of Oprah Winfrey. And I think most of us know who Oprah Winfrey is. And President Obama had come to her interview. And once the interview was over, he went up to Oprah and says and asked her, was that okay? You know, so being a president also, he needed that validation. Was I okay? You know, so Oprah Winfrey later shared in the group saying that it's not just president, you know, the Beyoncés who come onto a show, all the celebrities. Once the interview is over, they all ask her, was that okay? So there is a human need to feel validated for who you are as a person and for what you do. Yeah. And that's part of our biological makeup. There's nothing wrong. Yeah. Yes, fine. Go ahead. So this is another, and Rumi is another one that is you know, whose little stanzas about things I really love. You know, the way he looks, his philosophy of life is very, very interesting. So here he says, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. So we are always taught this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. So we have grown up thinking and feeling that way. So, and this is really provocative. When I read this, you know, I felt so liberated that there is a field beyond wrongdoing and right doing. So can I meet you there? Is, you know, is the statement I would ask all of you to look at. Yeah. Okay. So fine, let's go ahead. So let's look at the levels of empathy. We have seen what are these key elements. Empathy kisko bolte hain? And how do I understand empathy in a structure? Because for most, when Payal and I work with groups, people think that this is very esoteric and fluffy. So some of the elements that you need to understand is empathy is what we are bringing to you. So the first one, like we have shared, is observation. So what is an observation? Observation is something which I see, which I hear, which I remember somebody saying something. That is an observation. It is a pure fact. It is pure data. जो मुझे दिखता है, जो मैं सुनती हूँ, जो मैं याद रखती हूँ. That's an observation, as opposed to judgment. So what is judgment? Judgment is something where I tend to blame another person, where I tend to insult, where I tend to put down somebody, when I tend to label somebody, criticize, comparisons. Like most of my childhood went in comparisons because I was not very good in maths. I was compared to my neighbor who was very good in maths. And my father never saw that I was so good in English and my was not, you know. So that constant comparison always let me put me down because I thought my father really did not love me, you know. So comparisons and diagnosis. So all these are different ways how we try and disconnect from humans. Yeah. So I'll give you a few examples here. Does this make sense to everyone? Does it sit with you? Yeah. Just to give you two examples. A judgment is that Raj is a poor performer. Okay. So what is an observation? Raj got a rating of 2 in 2 consecutive years. So this is data, this is fact. But poor performer is a judgment. And also look at the other judgment. You never do what I want. This is what I used to, hear a lot of times when I was an adolescent. So look at what an observation could be here. The last 3 times I initiated an activity, you said you didn't want to do it. So this is a fact. This is an observation. So
Yeah, could we also say, Jaya, that sometimes judgments are also positive judgments?
Yes, fine. Judgments are also positive. Yes. When you're appreciated, that's also a judgment, right?
But that doesn't become an observation.
That does not. That's not an observation. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
Should I go ahead?
In the group? Yeah. So let's check with the group. Where are they? Any experiences that you want to share? Just 1 or 2 experiences before we move ahead. Anyone in the group? Okay, fine. Let's go ahead. So think of a pleasant experience. Any experience that for you was very pleasant. What were you feeling? You could write it in the chat box.
Can I share here? This is Dr. Rajendra Deshpande here.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. About a year back, I was in a function and in a marriage function, and one of my very close relative, he was hosting the marriage and was very busy and got tensed, and he started, for no reasons, he started abusing me in the public.
Okay.
And I did not react. I kept quiet. My wife got upset. She thought there is something wrong in me. So, and fortunately, my spiritual mentor was also standing by side, was besides around, and he heard that something is wrong. And the whole day went by, and my wife did not take food. I did not take food, and so I went to my spiritual mentor and asking that he should console my wife and clear the things. He just uttered one sentence that, see, what others speak about you, it displays their level. It does not display your level. So be unaffected by what others say about you. This was a very, very powerful statement he made, and my life got turned. Otherwise, normally we react and we get upset. So I have stopped getting upset since then about whatever people say about me, or I hear say about what people say about me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that in such an honest manner. Yes, I also see people responding on chat. Harish, you want to say to share it with others. Okay, if you have a pleasant experience, you want to share it with others. Is that what, I mean, I've understood that from your comment. And Anubha says she feels very happy and elated when she thinks of a pleasant experience. Thank you for sharing all that. Okay, fine, shall we go ahead? Then similarly, yeah. So then think of an unpleasant experience. What were you feeling? Now, similarly, answer this question also. Any unpleasant experiences that you've gone through? How are you feeling at that point? Just like, Rajendra shared right now, any unpleasant experience that you may have. Why is it only happening to me? Thank you, Harish, for that comment. Okay. Why is it only? So when we have an unpleasant experience, we always ask this of ourselves, why is it only happening to me? But what is the feeling behind it, Harish? Yeah? Okay, Anubha says she feels sad, she feels confused. So all these are feelings that come to you when you have an unpleasant experience. Yes. So now, now we come to the next level of empathy. So Payal, can we go on to the next one? So, so first one we saw observation and versus judgment that happened to us. And then what the next element of empathy is feeling. How does that make me feel? Okay. Okay. Somebody says this too will pass, then gets relaxed. Okay. Sad, angry, lonely is what Payal feels. So all these feelings are our feelings, and these are feelings that happen to us very internally, right? So yes, let's understand this, that feeling is what happens to us internally. Unlike thinking, thinking is when I am offering an opinion. Okay. So generally, you see the other storytelling that Payal was sharing with you on what is not empathy, giving an opinion. Oh, this too shall pass. Or oh, you poor thing, this happened to you. You know, this happened to me long time back. I also went through this phase. All of that was thinking. We were offering our experiences in the form of opinions to people, and that is not empathy. Okay. Now let's look at when we share our feelings. How do we share our feelings with people? I'll give you a few examples here, listed them out. So see, um, for instance, when I meet up with people, if there's a batch of 300 people with whom I'm doing a webinar, so the first feeling that comes to me is nervousness. So and when are the other times when I feel nervous? When I do not prepare well for a session. Okay. So that's what happens. And then that is the feeling. Nervousness is the feeling. And look at the second one, which I have done it in red. You disappointed me by not coming to the meeting. So why I have done it in red is because nobody makes me feel disappointed. Disappointment is happening within me because that's my internal experience. Of course, when somebody says something like Dr. Rajendra shared, so when somebody says something, something triggers in us and we feel something. But nobody else in the world is responsible for our feelings because that's our inner life, our internal life. A better way to put it is what I've done in the last point. I was disappointed when you did not come to the meeting as I wanted to talk over some things that were bothering me. So where is the disappointment coming from? Is that somebody did not come to the meeting and the need for me was to share some things in that meeting that was bothering me. So this is the actual way of putting your feelings. Okay. And some common mistakes that we make when we are sharing feelings is, I feel like hitting you. So this is not a feeling because you're already talking about an action. And also I hear people say, I feel that I am a success. This is also not a feeling. It is a thought that you're expressing as a feeling. So this is the distinction I wanted to make for you between feeling and thinking, because this has got a lot to do with empathy, sharing your feelings. Yeah. Okay. Vikas says very nice. Thank you for that bit of appreciation, Vikas. So yes, anyone wants to share an experience on feelings and thinking? One experience would serve as well. Okay.
I'm just listing out a list of feeling words. Sometimes in our day-to-day language, we don't have the vocabulary. So when you want to share your feelings, especially when you feel pleasant experiences, this could be one list.
Yes. Thank you for sharing this, Pai. Yeah. So the feelings list, I also see that in English, it's very, very clear. When I work with vernacular groups, it becomes very difficult for me to identify feelings in Hindi, Marathi, and all. But English, there is a complete list of feelings. Yes. Okay. So this is when our needs are met. These are the feelings. Yes. Yes, fine. We can go to the other list. feelings when our needs are not met. For instance, Rajendra, can I take your example here? So when Rajendra shared that the other person was, saying things which he did not want to hear, maybe there was anger, there was upset, there was embarrassment that it was happening in front of so many people, and there was also a sense of a feeling of confusion. कि यार ये क्यों हो रहा है अभी? क्या कर दिया मैंने? And then you also feel tense. Okay, my wife is also here. What is she, making of this? So those are the feelings that happen when our need is not met. Yeah. Maybe in that point, the need could be friendship, the need could be contribution, the need could be connection, the need could be, intimacy, whatever that need could be. Yes, File, we can go ahead. And any questions, any thoughts, anything? What are you feeling right now? Is that a good question? Harish says something. Please define the role of perpetual differences. Let's see what you have to say, Harish. Role of perpetual differences. Do they have any role related to empathy? Could you please unmute yourself and share with me what is it that you are talking about when you say perceptual differences? Can you give me an example so that it's clearer for me, Harish? If you can do it. Okay.
So, one of the possibilities of what I understand by what you're sharing, Harish, is when people have different perceptions or opinions, is what I understand, is how do people look at things very differently. When you're saying that, that is not about empathy, that is a lot about judgment, or that is a lot about perceptions and inferences. When you go through this process, and hopefully by the end of it, you will see what are we trying to put together. You will see how what you are seeing can be perceived in many ways, but we're still not talking about what you're perceiving. We're talking about the feelings and the needs in what you are seeing in the observation. You, when I hear what you're sharing in terms of perceptual differences, it brings in an element of that, but that's not what you are responding to. You're responding to feelings and needs. Okay.
Harish, I hope that's clear to you. Yeah. Yes, fine. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, can I go ahead?
Yes, yes, please.
Sure. So I want you all to look at the unpleasant experience that we spoke about. In the unpleasant experience, I want you to look at what is it that you needed that was not being met in the unpleasant experience. So let me give you an example. Yeah, I'll give you an example. I had a report to submit to one of my clients sometime back, and when I had to submit that report, I was very, very particular that it needed to be submitted at a particular time, and I could not do that. 3 to 4 of my team members were not able to put it together. So the observation is that the timeline that we committed was not met. We were supposed to give the report at 10 o'clock and we did not give the report. This is the observation. The feeling that it generated in me was I was feeling upset, I was feeling sad, I was also feeling scared. What will happen? The need for me was, and here is what I'm going to share with you, which is a list. Okay. So the need for me was, if you look at this, can somebody try and identify what was my need before I tell my need? This is a list of needs. Could you type on chat? It falls somewhere here. I'll give you a little bit of hint. What do you think was my need?
Need was not to be put down.
Please speak up a little. I could hear you, but not very clearly.
Need was not to be put down.
Need was not to be put down. All right. So when you're saying not to be put down, can you look at a word from here? when you say the need was not to be put down? Anybody else? Thank you for giving that a try. So my need really in that moment was that of effectiveness and efficacy, right? And that was very important because we'd already made a commitment to the client. Now, if you look at it, in every situation, the need of a person could be different. In the same situation, if you and I are together, your need and my need will be different. Just like our feelings will be different. Just like when you observed, each one of you observed different things. What we're trying to do is we're trying to put the observation, the feeling, and now the needs together. And you're slowly coming into a space where you're looking at what does empathy mean. So empathy entails observation. Observation is what you see or hear, which everybody else can see and hear. There is no difference really. But if you say, I observe that she is a tough person, that is not an observation. That's a judgment. When you say an observation is, I see that she is a teacher, or I see that she's come to teach, etc., etc. So observation is what nobody else will say anything different. Feelings is the inner world, like what Jaya shared with us, and of how are you feeling. And there are feelings when we have pleasant experiences, and there are feelings when we have unpleasant experiences. Now, whether the feelings are pleasant or unpleasant, it is coming from a need. And that is very important to identify what is the need. So I've given you a list and I want you to go back to all those pleasant, unpleasant experiences that you spoke about. What is really the need in what you're sharing? In how are you feeling? Could you try and identify that? Yeah. If you just look at some of the experiences that you have listed. So those needs is where we operate from. All our actions, our behaviors are coming from a need. And that's really why we either feel a certain way or we feel another way.
And also, Payal, most commonly, in my experience, the need to belong, the need for appreciation, the need for validation, these are some things, that come commonly in the human experience.
Yes. Yes. All right. Anyone wants to share of a particular experience, pleasant or unpleasant? Does somebody want to share what were you feeling and what were you needing? These two things.
May I make one
Yes,
submission?
Yes.
Yeah. It was way back in 1998. I was practicing. I was in a court, and that judge was giving a penalty, death sentence to that accused. And everybody was looking into the judge, but I was just looking into that accused in that accused box. And when the death sentence was pronounced, he was smiling like anything. A deep smile. And after getting out of that, he was telling to the police officers, and what more you can do? You let the most hang me. I was actually perplexed by that. The behavior he was doing. So, what sort of an emotion is that? Could anybody, highlight on that?
What do you think the person was feeling?
Yeah, that feeling, because till that point I was having empathy to that person, but the way he was behaving, I felt totally that empathy went off from me.
So I don't know your name. I can see Lenovo on your name.
Yeah.
May I know your name?
My name is Najib. I'm an advocate insolvency professional.
Sure. So just look at your experience that you're sharing. We cannot validate another person's feeling or need unless we ask them. So they are the litmus test who will tell us, are you feeling so and so? But let's look at your experience. You were feeling a certain way before the verdict came. What was your feeling? So if I look at,
normally when a death sentence is pronounced, and if a person is given a death sentence, normally everybody will feel bad, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Okay.
But so once the death sentence came, yeah.
Go ahead. Once the sentence came, then?
Yeah, once the death sentence came, everybody was looking at the judge who was pronouncing the judgment, but I was looking at that person in that accused box. And normally when a death sentence is pronounced, everybody will be weeping or falling or something like that will be happening. But he was giving a very deep smile. As if nothing has happened to him. And once he got out of the box, when he was taken to the police, they were trying to take him. He was telling, "What more can you all do? You can at the most hang me." So that
Yeah.
sort of an arrogance I was finding. How can man be in like such an attitude?
Yeah.
So
So
that empathy which I
possibly,
was having, yeah,
so possibly before the verdict came in, you were feeling compassion and empathy.
yeah,
But when his behavior was not as per what you expected, could possibly be there, it shifted. Yeah, and that shift came in from whatever the outside this was. What were you needing in that from him? You were needing something, which is why you were a little taken aback.
no, I mean to say that I got a bit of positivism in that, in a negative. I mean, he did it in a very negative way, but he was so fearless that you don't fear anything, even if the death is, because he could have used it in a very positive manner. He was later things took in another shape, but even at that time he was feeling as if he is fearing nothing.
Yeah.
So can't it be a positive too in that that negative behavior which he has shown? That is what I wanted to highlight.
Yeah. So that could be how the other person may have responded, that of an acceptance. This is how it is going to be for me. But when I listen to you, I hear your need of, what is making sense of this? The need of making sense of this shift in behavior, which possibly is not a reference point you may have had earlier. It's new to you. Yeah. So that could be one
Yes.
possibility of what you are needing, is making sense of what is this all about. So the need is also about looking at what is it that I want, not necessarily every time we are responding to something. Like right now, when I'm talking to you, I am feeling a sense of excitement that we are engaging. It's been 1.5 hours and this is a conversation that is really happening. What's my need really in this conversation? So my need really in this conversation is a sense of connection. That we are having a conversation about a subject which I feel very passionate about. So that's my need, and that's why even the way I'm talking and engaging is very animated. Yeah. So I would love for us to look at finding out what is our need when we are engaging with someone, when we feel a certain way, because our feelings are an outcome of what we are needing. And there is a possibility we can sense another person's need, but the only person who can tell us if it's the right need or no is the other person, if it is about that person. Jaya, you want to share something?
Yeah, I just wanted
Thank
to
you
share
so much
something,
for bringing this up.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you talked about it. It also gave me another perspective to look at things. So the way I'm seeing it, you feel empathy when you expect that person to do something which is like what you want them to do, right? Like in that case, maybe you wanted the person to feel remorse. You wanted the person to feel sad, cry, whatever. And that was not expressed by that person. So that is when there was an entire shift in your empathic stance, right? So when you saw that person being fearlessness, you saw that person being courageous in accepting what is happening to them, that is when you thought that, you did not feel empathetic. So that is one lens that I'm offering you. So for us, empathy is when the other person is down and out. Empathy is not when we see courage and fearlessness. So can you look at this? I mean, it's very interesting. We feel empathetic only when we see another person down in the dumps. When somebody is really standing up for himself or herself, we don't feel empathy for them. Yeah. So that's one way I'm seeing it play out. So also, my request to you would be, can you look at the person from that lens that he is holding of fearlessness and feel empathy for the human that he is? Yeah, that will be an invitation, maybe going forward.
Okay, thanks, Jaya, for bringing that, and thank you for sharing this experience with us. While you're sharing this, it brings what we started with, that empathy is what we do hold for ourselves and for others. So it's both ways. Okay. So we spoke of 3 elements of empathy, which is observation, feelings, and needs. And what is needs? Needs is our wants, our desires, and our values. What needs is not is action. This is what I should do to make this happen. I should hit, I should get this done, I should do this. I should set the thing up, I should offer money, I should offer a job, etc. That's not needs. They are actions or strategies. So for example, an action could be, let's do a proofreading. Each two people read it and we'll get it sorted. But the need is that when you see issues in the document, what are you really wanting? You're really needing, you're feeling in a certain way angry, upset, infuriated when you see these mistakes. And so you want that the professional image of the system, in this case the NGO, is stood up. Another way to look at it is the action is commitment. But if you look at it from the needs lens, you feel angry when the supervisor broke her promise because I was counting on getting that long weekend to visit my family. So the long weekend is talking about connecting with the family. The other one is talking about competence. So each one of our needs is not about action. Action is serving some need. And that's why I would like for us to differentiate. So if you remember, we did this quiz question. Somebody is sharing that, I don't have money enough. A lot of us were actioning it. Do you need some help? Can I give you something? This is what you should do. This is what, all those are strategies. The need really is security of the person. So let's go back to this statement. When somebody is not able to pay their bills, what do you think they need? They don't need your money. How often will you provide money? They possibly need a sense of security. They possibly need a sense of safety. Yeah. So I would really,
want to be heard.
They possibly want to just be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be safety. It could be just having somebody to empathize with them. And empathize does not mean giving the solution. I remember in some organizations where we work, some managers, leaders thinking empathy, if we give empathy, people will not perform. But empathy does not mean that you get people to be slow on their tasks and don't ask for performance. They're two very different things. Yeah? So let's look at this. Every time we are feeling a certain way, there is a request. So for example, somebody didn't do something for you. Somebody said something to you. You have a request. So sometimes when people are a little nasty, we want to tell them, don't talk to me. Sometimes we want to tell them, I don't want to engage with you. All of that. But if we do it the empathy way, which is observation, feelings, needs, and then we get into a request, that changes the tonality of how we are talking and engaging with people. So I'm going to share with you what a request is and what a request is not. So a request is talking about the here and now. Sometimes when you request, please be ready to listen to a no. People may say, no, I don't want to do it. And we need to have the willingness to do that because it's about choice. But request is not a demand. You should do this, you have to do this, you ought to do this. The minute you use this language, it does not become empathy. It becomes compulsion or force. So a demand is you should, you ought to, you're supposed to. And a request is very seeking, I'm wondering if you will be willing to do this. How will it work for you if you would do this? How does this sound to you? Does it sit like a good idea to you? You're still seeking an acceptance or an okay. So I'm going to bring all of this together for us, and I want you to take out your pen and paper or get into the chat box. And I want you to look at using this. Just one second. I'm trying to put everything together now, and I want you to do this. Think of any pleasant or unpleasant experience that you may have had. Try and respond or talk about it in this format. When I hear or see, so look at observation. The first thing that we did, observation is something which does not have your own mirch masala. It is what a camera sees. So think of that moment or think of that person. So I'll give you my example. When I hear someone talk with a raised voice, the tone raises, a loud voice, I feel, and I'm going to go to the feelings list in my mind, I feel infuriated. I feel angry because my need for respect is not being met. Okay? And so if I have to share this with the person, say for example, Jaya, when I hear you raise your voice and talk, I feel angry. My need for respect is not being met when I hear that voice, that tonality. Would you be willing to understand what I want to share about it? Or would you be willing to look at the way you are talking to me? That really is how we would engage in an empathetic conversation or an empathetic sharing. Now, the other person does not know about your training, your going around through this process. It is called OFNR, observation, feeling, needs, and requests. So they don't know. You let them share it in whichever way they want to, and you pick up when you are sharing this, you are feeling so and so. So could we just do one little exercise? And Jaya, we could ask, would you want to just share would you want to just listen to either me, or can you share an experience? I want to be able to also get us to demonstrate when you listen to someone who does not know about empathy, how can we pick up feelings and needs? Should we do a try on that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, is there anybody else who can step in? So either Jaya and I can, look at listening to you from that lens. Anybody who wants to just come up with an experience. We had one person talk about the court, one person talk about the marriage. Anybody else? Yeah, I can see somebody is unmuted yourself. Akshay, you want to share? Okay, Akshay is just coming. Anybody who wants to share? Okay. Jaya, do you want to share then?
So I think, it's also as a process file for first timers, it's not very easy to do this. So I think it will be good to demonstrate so that people get a hang of it. You gave an example. Let me give one of mine. So when I hear people talk about others behind their back, okay, I feel very sad, because my need for authenticity, my need for vulnerability is not being met. So I would request the person who is actually gossiping to say, would you be willing to talk to the person directly instead of gossiping about the person? So that is something which I would say in a normal work setting.
Great, great. Okay, and thanks, Jaya, for bringing that. So you have two lenses. I'm now going to give you a statement of a 5-year-old. All of you just do this quick reflection. And I want you to take your chat or unmute yourself. Just one statement. So a child is telling their parent that my friend today pushed me and I'm not going to play with him anymore. So I want you to share with me, what do you think is the feeling of the child and the need of the child?
Use the chat also.
Yeah, so the child is feeling angry. Yeah, so great catching of feelings. Need security. Okay. Great. So Anubha, thanks for sharing that. What else? The child is saying, this friend pushed me, I'm never going to play with him. Feeling disappointed, yeah. What about the others? Getting irritated when work is not done as required. Okay. Okay.
I'm feeling very glad, Payal, because people are able to put in their feelings and needs. It's really nice to see it. Truly appreciate.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, the child could be feeling upset, angry, irritated. And do you know what? So like Anubha shared that the child is needing security. The child could also possibly be needing this acceptance, this friendship. And I tried this, so I've given you one example of my son. He came home fallen down yesterday with a bruise on his leg. And I asked him what happened. And he told me he pushed me and I'm very upset. I'm feeling very angry. I'm never going to play with him. So I asked him, oh, you're never going to play with him, but he's your best friend. And what did I do? I didn't show empathy. Okay? What he really wanted was, he wanted companionship, he wanted friendship. He felt in that moment, somebody who's my friend, how could he push me? He wanted that sense of safety in that friendship. Okay? And that's what we have to keep doing. Sometimes we have to keep testing, because we can only guess another person's feelings and needs. They are the right people to tell us that. Yes, so Mr. Prasad has said, need is company to play. You're right. That's what do children want? Yeah? Okay. So thank you. I would request you, as you go along, and Jaya will take us to the later part of the session also now, that please keep a watch on feelings and needs. You don't have to tell a person, this is what you're feeling, this is what you're needing. Just keep using it as your day-to-day language. All right. Yeah.
So that's nice. Okay. So here is an example of OFNR. The observation is, I just, and this is real, okay? We are giving you a real example here. I just heard from A of B funding agency that he made one phone call and sent 2 messages to you last week and has not heard back. A true observation, there is 1 phone call, 2 messages, and he has not heard back. Okay? Then the feeling is, I'm really baffled as to why you have not returned his call and messages, and knowing how much funding we received from him, I'm also anxious. So this is the exact expression of feeling. Now look at the need. I want us to be fully funded, and I do want consideration and respect to be an integral part of how we work with partners. Not returning calls to funders or any of our partners does not fit with me. The request is, how does this sound to you? Would you be willing to keep this in mind? That is the request. And you know what the other person answered to this? The other person said that, I'm so sorry. While we have not noted it down, the other person said that, I'm so sorry, that this happened. And I will see to it that it does not happen again. I understand your need for respecting our partners. And I fully understand our need for funding. This was the response. So we'll give you an example right now. We would like you to work with this. Write down something that somebody said to you that you did not like hearing. It could be in a personal space at your home. It could be at the workplace where you interact with people. Anything that somebody said to you that you did not like hearing. You don't have to share the statement with us. You write it down for yourself in the notebook, exactly as it was said to you. Okay? And then you create this kind of a T here, and on the left side, you write your feelings. It could be one feeling, it could be a series of feelings, it could be 2 feelings, 3 feelings, whatever. So write down your feelings here as you felt when you heard that statement, and what was your need at that point in time that was not being met in that conversation, in that interaction. So put that on the right hand side. This is the first step. Once you're done, let us know you're done, so we move to the next step. This is just for your practice. Okay. Yes, Rajendra. Further training is needed on diagnosing the feeling and the need at the source. Fully understand you. Yes. But right now, with whatever understanding you have, could you please fill this? Take 2 minutes. Harish, have you written the statement that you heard from the person as a first step? And then the feelings that occur to you, your internal life, and then your need. The need is yours, Harish. Okay, your need that was not being met. We will talk about the other person later. More for this exercise and we'll move ahead. We'll move to the next one. And empathy is also about understanding the other person. Okay, so the same statement, what was the other person's feelings when he or she said what he said to you? What could be the other person's feelings? Imagine what they would be feeling at that point. Write down their feelings. And what would be the other person's needs? What was the person needing and not getting for him or her to say what he or she said? Write those down. Take a minute or two here and write it down. If you can, if you could get one or two feelings, that's all right. If you could get one need, that's also okay. How are you feeling after having done this exercise? In your relationship with the other person, how is it making you feel? You could write it in the chat, you could unmute yourself and talk. Okay. Okay. How has been the exercise? How has been your experience of doing this? If one or two of you could share. I know it's not complete by itself because the time is short, but an experience of how it was for you. to look at your own feelings and needs and the other person's feelings and needs. One or two people, may I invite you to share?
Hi, yeah. Well,
Yes.
after writing down this feeling and needs exercise, one is it's just that when you are in a spur of a moment or when things are happening, you are not able to think over it. But when you write it down or when you just think about it, putting it down, then you start evaluating it कि okay अच्छा ये ऐसे हुआ था, probably I was more reactive या मुझे ऐसे नहीं बोलना चाहिए था. Well, I'm just so it's a exercise where probably everyone should do it after as we call it before sleeping you should always think about your day for 15-20 minutes. So that's the kind of exercise because it will help you to assess what has actually happened and how that happening has if I want to say aggregated your feeling or aggregated your needs for whatever reason. Could be that somebody has not spoken to me in a good manner today, so I might feel frustrated. So my need was that he or she should speak to me in a decent manner or with respectful manner.
Right. Yes.
So that's how you start looking at it. So I may think कि अच्छा वो छोटी थी यार, ये वो छोटा था, he doesn't know. So it also helps you to let go things instead of keeping it with you. It helps you let go.
Yes.
Okay, ठीक है. It has happened. Let's move on.
Yeah. You know, there is a beauty in what you're saying, Anubha, because we don't know where that person was coming from. We don't know what's happening to the person who said what he said. So he or she may be undergoing his own drama in life, you know, judgment जो भी है. And then this kind of a thing gives you a different lens of looking at that person with empathy. That's why Payal and I wanted to give you all an experience of this. Thank you for bringing that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So there's just one little thing that we would like you to do. So we'll go over to the next slide. Fine. So let's go to the last wala slide, which is okay. Okay. So here's an invitation. What is the image that comes to you, to each of you, for empathy? Now that you've gone through the session, now you've understood, OFNR, and you've also experienced it through an exercise. What is the image? You could draw it and also talk about it.
Could you give us an example, Jaya? You're on mute.
Okay, for me, empathy is an umbrella. While the image that comes to me is an umbrella where I am there and the other person is also there.
Thank you for sharing.
For me, when I look at empathy, I think it's a way to connect with people. What we call it, genuinely connect with people. It's not boasting about or talking. Genuinely connecting with people and trying to help them.
Okay. So the image that I see, one thing that I would like to share when I'm hearing you, I'm seeing two hands together. That's the image that I'm getting, Anubha, after what you have shared. I don't know what your image is.
Same is here.
Okay.
Same is here. When we look at, we are together in the same boat, if I want to say something like this.
Okay. ठीक है. So Harish, says a good image about the person who's empathizing. So what is the image? Is the image of the person giving? Do you see that as an image, Harish? I'm just wondering if, how is that sounding to you? Hope. Okay. Prasad says hope. Okay. And what is the image of hope, Prasad?
See, when we get the response, which I feel it is an empathizing other person, then I can get whatever I want from that person, or I am expecting from that person. That increases my hope.
Okay. Okay.
So when person empathizes, no, the other person.
Giving and receiving. Sorry?
Maybe. See, I had some need. I approached him. I didn't get a response, a proper response. But subsequently, the response is such that what example you gave, it gives me a hope. Okay, when I go next time, I'll get it. That person is having some empathy on me.
Okay. So it's giving and receiving. That's the image that I got.
Maybe.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Anubha says hand holding. Yes, that's the image you have, Anubha. Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you, everyone, whoever has shared. Payal, over to you.
Yep. So thank you for going through this process of ELC with us. What you have experienced is like Sanjeev would say it. Sanjeev from Vasme would say it. It is the trailer. We would like to also see if you are willing and see merit in this. We can then come to a process which is the experiential process, which is no teaching, no slides, nothing. But it is just an experiential process which we can do only with a group of 20 people. So you could offer this in your institute, and we could, facilitate that for people in your institute. We could do this for other people. The intent of that is that we don't teach them anything. You have experienced the teaching right now. But we would really like to experience just this dialogue the way we've showed you. And if you want to do this in your respective institutes, if you want to be able to bring this in the ecosystem organization that you work in, then please let us know. We can share with you a little link over here. Sanjeev, would this link be the link of the people who are interested, or would this link be the feedback link?
Yes, we'll be just sharing the feedback. Ankit or Megha will share the feedback.
I think they've shared that, yeah. So I'm requesting Kesha to just put up a link, which is not a feedback link, but a link of, do you want Vasme and Celebratory Network to bring this to your respective institute? So just, it's a 5-question link. It will tell you about, if in case you want to bring this to your institute or your organization, do fill it, and then we'll reach out to you. And what is ELC? So since the past 1.5 years, we have been holding these conversations with organizations, with institutes. And we've been getting smaller groups of people to share what's happening with them. In these times, people are talking about the challenges, the concerns they are facing. It is just about creating a space exactly like what we did today, without teaching, but really about having those conversations. So that's really what we will do through ELC. And I think once you do this, you will see the beauty of a conversation which is empathy-based conversation happening with your people. And they will also learn how to do this in the first session itself. So they'll start with that process. With that as a note, I hope you can start thinking about where you can apply your learnings of today. Where all can you do this? Remember, you are going through this process. The entire world is your platform. You can just talk about feelings with a 5-year-old, feelings and needs. In a meeting, you could talk about observations and feelings, or observation and request. You can do your own jugaad, permutation, combination, and you can use this process. And let me tell you, that a process like empathy, you are never arrived. You will always continuously be doing this. Even while Jaya, Kesha, and I have been working in this space, we've been doing this, and there are times when we fail, like Anubhav pointed out. When you are in the midst of it, sometimes you just give up. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be insensitive. Maybe that's what you want to do, but that doesn't stop you from going back. That day I was insensitive. I can still pick up and start from here. Okay.
The empathy for self, Mustahil.
Yeah. Yeah. That is empathy for self. All right. So, thank you everyone for participating in this session, for experimenting with us, for sharing your situations, for opening up to this group and bringing in your vulnerabilities. I hope we can see you on the other side for holding the experimental, experiential conversations of ELC. Yeah. All right. Over to you, Sanjeev.
Wonderful session, Payal,
Sanjeev,
Jaya, and Kesha. Wonderful session. This is a very, I mean, it's a good session, and I think hope the participants have already learned so many things. So we will share the link to the, the databases as well as the those who are not participating in this particular webinar. So we will share the YouTube link as well as the link of whatever that you have already shared. Okay. If anybody is having any kind of question, you can just ask. Over to Mega. Mega is there or not?
Yeah, sir, I'm here. Can I move towards the vote of thanks session, sir?
Yeah, if anybody
I would
is
like
not
to
having any
request
kind
each and
of
everyone, kindly take the feedback link from inbox. So we don't have any questions, so I think let's move towards vote of thanks.
Yes.
I, on behalf of World Association for Small and Medium Enterprises, it's a great honor to propose the vote of thanks to all guest speakers, participants, and WASME team. I would like to thank our distinguished speakers, Ms. Payal Gupta, Ms. Jaya Nati, and Ms. Kesha Kapodia for making excellent presentation and making this webinar interesting and meaningful. I would like to express our profound gratitude to Mr. Prabir Roy for his presence in this webinar. I would also like to thank our Dr. G.P. Agrawal, Secretary General WASME, and Dr. Sanjeev Laik, Executive Secretary WASME, for his support and guidance. Once again, thank you all of you for making this webinar successful with your contribution. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sanjeev sir. Thank you, Payal ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.